Awesome. So welcome everyone. My name is Noah and I'm incredibly excited to talk to you about today's topic of the meeting, which is insufficient compensating hurting Make-A-Wish's mission delivery potential. So a little about myself. Once again, my name is Noah Grillo. I am both a part of the volunteer engagement team, the mission delivery team, and I'm an MBA candidate at the Florida Atlantic University. So I want to start off the meeting with just a couple of numbers to hit you guys with. As of 2017, charitable giving has been raised to over $410 billion. And it's incredible to think about that nonprofit employees are making $25,000 less annually than their just professional business people counterparts. And I believe that that is kind of the crux of the situation, that this insufficient compensation is hurting the mission delivery potential of Make-A-Wish. And within this conversation, I'd like to address the main causes, the potential effects, symptoms, and provide two solutions I think will help Make-A-Wish long term. So I actually like to talk about the main causes first because I think that will then shed light onto the symptoms and long-term effects. So right now, too high percentage of donations is dedicated to delivering the mission. And that's because I believe that we have a cultural misconception that nonprofits and for-profit businesses need to inherently be run differently than one another, besides the fact that the only differences between the two is how we earn our profits and the tax benefits of how we earn our profits. And with that, it's because this too high percentage, our employees are facing financial insecurity. And there are two symptoms I believe is fueled by this financial insecurity. As one, we are constantly facing a struggle of recruiting a high volume members of high qualified personnel. And also with that, the people who we have here right now, we don't have a very good employee turnover rate. This is because that people are driven by financial security. And so with that, when you're getting brought in, you either do not want to take that pay cut immediately, and so you choose to go somewhere else, or you come in here, you realize how hard it is to live off a nonprofit salary, and so you look for the first option to get out of there. This has led to a lot of long-term effects. Mainly, we are many times understaffed and many times underqualified. The underqualification is actually a really big issue that we face right now, because many of our branches are not able to adequately fundraise for themselves, and so they have to siphon from more successful branches like South Florida. Annually, South Florida takes $200,000 from our own budget to disperse among other branches like South California and Nebraska, who every single year struggle to raise the money to help grant these wishes. Along with that, we are understaffed. In just last year, South Florida was able to grant 625 wishes with only 10 people. And that sounds like pretty awesome numbers, but imagine the amount of effect and change we'd be able to give to these kids if we were not just dedicating so much time to the rehiring and retraining process. And this has also led to two more effects, is that there's an enormous backlog of wishes that are not being met. And this has led to a reputational strain, which is really hard to come back with a nonprofit. So I really hope that with shedding the light on this, we can take this seriously and listen to the two solutions that I provided. First of which is that I believe that we need to provide our employees with competitive wages compared to for-profit businesses. Just yesterday, I was actually learning about how Costco is run and how their business is structured. And in case you guys do not know this, Costco is an awesome place to work. $17 an hour, amazing benefits. It really is incredible, and they're kind of the leader of their industry. And this shows with a lot of really good benefits. They have incredibly low employee turnover, and since they've gone public, their stock has increased by 900%. I believe that this will help mitigate the effects that we see with our inability to recruit high qualified personnel and the employee turnover rate. And secondly, I think that we should develop a board membership program. Now, this name of this is definitely subject to change, but the conceptualization of this is that many times board members and employees work double as volunteers. So why not take this system already and collaborate them together? I believe that if we just set up these employees with board members, it will be we'll be able to cause a additional benefit of working with Make-A-Wish, in that they'll be able to build rapport with each other. They'll be able to expand their network both sides, and which many times, you know, that when you work internally with people, it ends up turning over with future job prospects just on both sides. And this is because when you do not have the wages or the money to be able to bring in to Make-A-Wish, like if you don't want to touch the budget, this will be a much more low. This won't require so much money compared to the other solution, which is definitely a negative effect of the other solution. Another bad part about the other. About the first one, providing employees with more competitive salaries, is that this will take a long time to implement to be able to see the large benefits. But I believe that either of these solutions are fantastic ways to provide change and to provide structure, and just be able to override our whole system to help us fuel our mission more sustainably. So, to summarize it all, I want to remind you why we are all here, and that is to create life-changing wishes for children with critical illnesses. If you believe that the system we have in play is sustainable and that you are content with what we're doing right now, and that I have not convinced you yet that we need to implement change, please give me about 4 to 6 weeks to come up with more research to help prove you otherwise. However, I believe that right now we are kind of in a self-imploding system, that the more nonprofits grow and the more that stress and reputation is on the line, the current system we have right now is just not going to work out. So unfortunately, it's not really up to me, it's up to you all to implement this change. So thank you for coming to this meeting, and I will be open for any questions.
Are you concerned that the first solution, that it's going to maybe look bad optically, that we take money away from the kids to give to us?
I'm actually really happy you asked that. So there's a certain metric that we have right now that nonprofits, by the dollar, that people look to see how much by the dollar people that the donations are given straight to the mission. But that doesn't really show how much change and how much effect that the nonprofit is doing in that for the cause. All it does is show how much money is being donated to it. So that's just a cultural misconception that I think that we should change with nonprofits in general. But yeah, it may cause reputational strain. But right now, there's already a reputational strain because of the huge backlog of wishes. Yeah.
So would doing that also lead to additional costs in like a marketing team to get that, because you have to change perception, otherwise it's a PR nightmare.
You know, you're really right about that. There may actually be additional cost with the marketing team. But again, this is for implementation of the future. So we can try to patch it up short term as much as we want, but I believe that this is the most surefire way for the long term. And we also are not really at least in South Florida, we're not really struggling with the budget. As I told you before, we are donating every year $200,000 to other struggling branches. Yes.
So when you were talking earlier about increasing compensation for some of the employees, I was wondering what kind of compensation you considering? Are you considering increasing salaries or like employee benefits?
So my two solutions actually, I guess, hit both of those. So the first one would be competitive salaries, so that people are not financially insecure, that it's a lot more attractive of an offer to come to Make-A-Wish. And the other one is definitely an added benefit. Yes, I am.
I was just going to ask a question. Does Make-A-Wish Foundation then have shareholders?
Yes, we do. We have that. No, we have we have board members that donate a lot of money, so they're not necessarily shareholders, but they donate significant amount of money, so that would be the people on our board,
Alright, so.
not really shareholders.
So you, in terms of like compensation, wouldn't you think that, the shareholders, in a way, wouldn't, they're not in it to make a profit?
That's actually, yeah, 100%, and, so because they are because it's a charitable donation, the board members, shareholders, if you wanna call them that, they want to see, they want to see more active change. And so I think that these board members will be willing to contribute to that. It just, you have to change your perspective. And my second option, I guess, will add a little bit more of an emphasis on them volunteering, which may be a downside to my second option, that they'd have to volunteer a little bit more and get kind of be in contact with the Make-A-Wish employees. But again, they're donating a lot of money for a reason, because they believe in the mission.
Thank you very much. One more quick question, go ahead.
Yes.
What's the incentives for volunteers to, I guess, like, work for free? They're just like, they believe in the mission, that's the
Yeah,
main cause?
so we have tons of volunteers that just, Make-A-Wish really is a feel-good organization, and so they see the palpable change. They see these actual wishes being granted. They post up on Facebook. And it really is such an amazing thing that you're able to be a part of. So volunteerism is a huge factor of Make-A-Wish and why we're so successful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys.